everyone, and welcome to our program These Days. I'm your host, Barb Keidel. I'm fixing myself up here to fit into the background, and I'm so happy to be here this evening. Welcome again to our program, live at Channel 23, and we have a wonderful guest this evening, a local artist and activist. He's going to show you his paintings. We're going to talk a little bit about his style, how he came to be who he is, and his name is Lubo Timnev. How are you, Lubo?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm so glad to meet you.
Nice to be here.
And everyone, we're going to focus a little bit on Lubo here. Lubo is a Danbury resident now, right, Lubo?
That is correct.
And would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born and raised, and a little bit about your background?
Sure. Well, I was born in the Eastern European country of Bulgaria. I came to the United States when I was 18, which was in 1995, and having said that, my background is Slavic.
Yes.
I was born and raised in a what would be considered a fairly
Small town, big
small
city?
town. Yes, it's actually
Countrified?
it's considered to be the 8th biggest city in Bulgaria. It has about 120,000 residents.
Well, that's sort of like this area.
Yeah.
Now, Bulgaria is what? Is it a big country, a smaller sized country? How would you describe it?
Bulgaria is actually a very, very small country. Population is the size of New York, Manhattan rather. It's about 8 million people,
right.
8 million residents. So it is a very small country in the heart of Balkan Peninsula.
All right, and could you name some neighboring countries around
Sure.
you?
On the north, Bulgaria borders Romania.
Okay.
And on the west, it borders the Black Sea. On the east, what used to be Yugoslavia, now it's Serbia. And on the south, it is Turkey and Greece.
All right.
So
So you have a wide variety of countries around you. Did you travel to them in your life as you were there?
Actually, regretfully, no. I have not traveled to
Any of the surrounding
any of the
countries?
surrounding countries.
But you
right.
came here. And we're very happy to have you,
Well,
and
thank
I'm
you.
so glad that you are here on the program tonight. So do you think that your culture and living in the country, as you describe it, and the culture of the people, had an impact on your style of artwork, as we're going to be displaying shortly?
To some extent, yes. Again, having been born and raised in a
Different lifestyle.
yeah, but more. I was gonna say, having been born in a what used to be a communist country,
Yes.
and growing up to see the changes happening in the socio-political environment and changing in the early 1990s was to some extent influential in my
Style. Your viewpoint on how
my
to create.
viewpoint on as a whole on the world and ideas surrounding
Everything,
life.
life. And so you came here at 18, and then you attended school. Would you tell us where you went and what your studies were?
I began my studies at Norwalk Community College under a great staff in the art department, which is actually the reason why I am an artist today. I wouldn't have been one if it wasn't for the encouragement and support of several highly regarded artists in the field, and
wonderful.
So I began my studies at Norwalk Community College, and subsequently, after 2 years of studying there, I transferred to Hunter College, the City University of New York,
Yes,
in Manhattan,
wonderful.
where I graduated in the spring of '03. I've received my Bachelor of Arts from Hunter College.
Hunter College, wonderful.
And
And then you went on again.
And then my
is
life
great.
took me on a even more adventurous journey to Florida, to St. Augustine the following year. Well, in 2004, I relocated to Florida, to St. Augustine. It's a beautiful, beautiful little town. It's the oldest city in America.
Right, right.
I lived there for 2 years, and I continued studying college at the University of North Florida. And at the end of '05, I graduated once more with a degree in art history.
Excellent.
So that
So
is
you
really
have enriched your entire background, you know, and you brought out your artistic self. Now, you said you were started at Norwalk Community College and that you were very impressed by the people that gave you encouragement there and their talent and skills.
Yes.
Did you know when you were a child and when you were younger in Bulgaria that you felt this way, that you leaned toward artistic types of creativity, or were you just growing up and living in a culture, understanding the history that you said about communism and trying to figure out who you were as a kid, going through school over there? Or did you have this feeling like I did? I always loved music. I was singing at 2 or 3 years old, unbeknownst to myself. That's what my mother told me and everybody else. So were you picking up crayons, or were you picking up chalk, pencils as a child, and then it blossomed?
You know, actually, I was not that much into art when I was a kid. In many respects, I
Just did your kid thing.
I did my kid thing. I wanted to be a kid. I had a wonderful childhood, thanks to my parents.
Wonderful.
But I remember my childhood pretty vividly, and I recall being fascinated by the natural world, fascinated by my surroundings. I love spending time outdoors,
walking in the
nature.
woods and stuff like that,
Walking
and
in the
looking at
woods.
nature,
Absolutely.
smelling the earth, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I
As
love that.
a matter of fact, my hometown of Sliven is nestled in a mountain that is called the Stara Planina, which in Bulgarian means old mountain.
Okay.
And it is a spectacular site because there is I forgot what the name of the particular element is in the stones, but it is some sort of a chemical element that makes these stones appear blue during sunrise and sunset.
Oh.
So it was a really wonderful environment to grow up with, and just being, you know, witness to the splendor of nature.
Yeah, that I love hearing that, because as a child I grew up in a small town in Connecticut, and I lived on a mountain, and the road was called Andrew Mountain, and we played out in the woods. We were out there all the time, rolling around and climbing and hanging out of trees, and that to me was a great part of who I am as well. But you know, maybe it stuck in you like it did with me, because I believe I'm connected to the earth. It's very meaningful to me. So for you now, when you're talking about your artistic work, we're going to talk about your style, since you were very much influenced by nature and its fluidity, or how you viewed it. And so, ladies and gentlemen and viewers at home, we're going to look at some of Lubo's artwork, which is you know, very unusual. He's going to tell us a little bit about each one and the style of it and how it came to be, and his ideas behind the work obviously came from that period of time in your life, maybe, and some of the changes that went on.
Yes.
But you look at things differently. Let's point to one and get started here. In your artistic style, what would you call it? If we could take a look at one, we're going to start with.
Okay. Well, if we can, all right, that would be a good starting point. How would I define my style? I would like to think of it as a hybrid style.
Okay.
I would like to think of it as a surrealism
Okay.
with elements of abstract expressionism, and it really when it comes down to defining a particular art style, I have learned through the years that it is kind of hard for artists to define
Yes.
with just this one sentence what their style really is.
Right.
That is really for the public, for the critics
Right.
to do. That is their job. I would like to think of myself as someone who is inspired by nature, inspired by
Right.
the mysteries of the cosmos, the universe as a
that,
whole. I am very, very fascinated with the realms of the universe and what lay beyond. And all of
excellent,
these
yeah.
elements are ones that tend to define my style.
Yeah, they seem to be blended all in there, and the colors too. So, in that portrait or painting we were looking at, it looks to me like you can you can see what you want to see in there. If we could take a look at that one again, the first one that we had up, you can see something that does look like it belongs naturally. A leaf or some kind of something. If we could bring that one back up, that would be nice. So we could see that again, and we can move on to another one that would explore another view of your style, which might be the one right here next to me. So if you'd like to look at this one, it has a different, it has a flow to it, and then there's another texture up here that seems to be present, as if it has some kind of a focus on what's going on. So this might look like some kind of an orb, and it has a rough texture, and then it sort of flows out.
Yes. Again, going back to your last question, if I was to define a major element in my work, it would be the biomorphic nature of my of my expression. My artwork is very fluid in the sense
Yes.
that it is. I do not like to imply any form of any conformity when it comes to defining the shapes and the colors. I haven't been influenced by the natural world. The biomorphic aspect of my work is one that I tend to believe it's derivative directly from my experiences as a child.
I agree.
Growing in such an environment, being surrounded by nature, and just witnessing once more the
Yeah, it's very enchanting, I think. And what is this, if you were to describe it to someone, as we look at it here, what would you say is happening here?
Okay, first I would like to just mention briefly about this particular method or technique that I'm
Yes.
utilizing. A lot of my work tends to have texture to
Right.
it, and one way I manage to achieve this is by either applying a modeling paste, letting that settle, and then painting over it, where I would like the texture to come through, or mixing and together with the paint as I'm working on a particular artwork. And that actually, that particular artwork was created towards the end of '03 and '04, right at the time when I was finishing up college